My name is Fred Elliot Hall, candidate for Detroit City Council. After I graduated from college, I went through grad school at Wayne State University. I put myself through school while I was working. I have an undergraduate degree in computer science, but my graduate degree is I have a master's in finance. And right after I graduated, I started my own business. It's a computer support company. We do training, networking, and website design. That's 20 years ago, so I've been in business 20 years. Also, 5 years ago, I bought a security guard company, do security at Cobo for the auto show, dog show, different churches around the city. So what I bring to the city council is not only my background, of course, as being an employee, because I've also been a card-carrying union member when I worked for Coca-Cola when I was home from college, as well as I taught Detroit Public School as a substitute teacher for a short period of time. And I also worked for Chrysler for about a year, and they laid me off, and that's how I ended up going back to graduate school. So I bring not only my experience of being employed, but I'm also now an employer. And right now we need people not only with finance experience, which right now there's no one on the city council who has any type of finance background. There's only a couple of us running that do have a finance background for $300 to $400 million deficit. We really need some people on council who can look at balance sheets, their income statements, and set really good, prudent budgets that not only focus on trying to bring Detroit back into financial fullness and out of junk bond status, but also be compassionate in the type of cuts we're going to make. So I really believe that not only my experience as a business owner and creating jobs, but my education will also be an asset to Detroit City Council. Well, there's a variety of reasons. First, I'll give you I have a family, a young family. I have a 5-year-old son, a 15-year-old daughter. And being a product of parents and grandparents here from the city of Detroit, we've always tried to do things to give back to the city, and I've always tried to do things in my own little corner of the city, meaning that 95% of people who work for the companies I own are from Detroit. For my computer consulting company, all of my employees come directly out of Detroit Public School System. So I've always been a proponent for the city, and I've always wanted to be part of the comeback for the city of Detroit. I really believe we have some fantastic assets here, the busiest waterway in the country, the Detroit River and the international border, great educational and cultural institutions. And I really believe that we just need to make prudent decisions for the types of property we have here. We have people here who are very resilient, who always are looking for the next opportunity and believing that Detroit's next great opportunity is just around the corner. So it seemed that it was the right time for someone with my education and my background to run for office, seeing that we have a great opportunity to change the city around. We started years ago. We were a lumber and fur trading town, and then became the largest stove maker in the United States, and then of course the Motor City. And now we have a unique opportunity to refocus the type of city we want to be. It looks like now we're going to probably lose some population based upon the census. They're projecting us to go down from 850,000 to 750,000 next year. So we need to redefine ourselves as a city. Now, me being someone who's been highly involved in technology and being an entrepreneur, I really believe that small business is the future for the city of Detroit. They say 60 to 80% of the jobs that come out of any recession are small business-based jobs. So that's my field and that's my expertise, and we have to become more small business friendly here in the city of Detroit. So I'll be a proponent for small businesses. I'll also be a proponent to get more investment here in the city of Detroit. You don't always have to hit the home run by having one of the Fortune 500 companies move here. We can get a lot of small businesses to move here and to locate here like they want to do, and you get a lot of people who have great ideas. A lot of people come out of high school and college want to be their own CEOs. So we need to become more friendly to them in terms of giving them resources, providing the consulting that they need, opening more places like Tech Town, which is a fantastic facility that allows business owners to get started for very little overhead costs, and they can get their business going. They have not only the rapport among each other, where there's several business owners there and they talk amongst themselves and they meet amongst themselves, but also get some free or very low-cost consulting to keep the businesses going. Number one priority of the City Council, where the City Council has their most power, is oversight of the budget. And having a finance background, that is where I believe I can be the most valuable in terms of looking at the budget, looking at the numbers, seeing where we can find opportunities to decrease the deficit that the city has right now. One area that I'll point to is we actually fund the bus system by a tune of $80 million a year. Now, what I believe we can do, and what we should do, has been talked about for years, is joining with SMART and forming a regional transportation system where we can actually take that $80 million off the books and it will be handled by the authority as opposed to by the city of Detroit. Now, it's going to be a 2 to 3 year process to get that done, but if we started that now, that at least is some viable way to decrease $80 million off of the city of Detroit's books, and that's a pretty substantial bite. So it's going to take bringing everyone around the table, not only the unions, we know the bus drivers are in favor of that, but also the mechanics union, ASME, as well as the community to get the input on how we can easily do that in a way that's acceptable to everyone. So that's I think the biggest priority that the City Council has at this point in time, seeing that it seems as though we go from one crisis to the other, as opposed to getting a good, firm idea on how we're going to take care of this problem in the long run. Cutting jobs is not going to make us prosperous. It's all about cutting some programs, taking some things off the books, as well as finding revenue here for the city of Detroit, which I think is also going to be a priority. Well, there's quite a few that I have. Another idea is the city of Detroit, whenever we are sued, and we know that the city of Detroit has been sued, gets sued quite a bit every year. Whenever the city wins the cases, the city never goes after the people who sue the city for the court costs or the attorney's fees. Now, that's fairly substantial. And where there's also a lot of cases filed against the city of Detroit, I really believe that the city of Detroit was more aggressive in going after those fees if they won the case, that we'd see a lot less cases presented against the city of Detroit, people suing us, because then they know that they lose, they'll be responsible for the court costs and the attorney's fees. Another opportunity I see is being able to put some new, whenever Detroit hires new employees, let's say starting in July of 2010, as opposed to putting them through the existing pension system, we can put them into a 401k plan. Now, I'm not saying we do that for the police and firefighters, but all the other city-based employees and the city employees put into a 401k that's not managed by the pension fund. That would decrease our costs there by several millions of dollars, and over time, eventually we would almost see that expense eliminated off of our books. So there's several opportunities where we can actually take advantage of some cost savings in other areas. I really believe that for our essential city services, we should not privatize, meaning our trash pickup, and I believe the Kilpatrick administration even looked at that and found that in the long term it would cost more to privatize that than it would be to keep it in the confines of city Detroit employees. The police, of course, the firefighters, all of that is essential, and that should be maintained under the city of Detroit auspices. Now, studies need to be done in terms of other areas, but where the long-term costs are lessened for the city of Detroit is where we should probably look to privatize some things. Other things, I don't believe will do that well under privatization. That would take a lot of effort. I know there's a lot of contracts out for the water department, and my question would be, do we still have the expertise necessary to do a lot of those in-house as opposed to contracting the water department's responsibilities out to several different firms? I know that we contract out to the tune of several $1 million a year, and a lot of private contractors are paid for that. We still have a lot of city employees who have a lot of experience, and I really believe there's a lot of things that we can do as a city through our unions to get a lot more things done without having to always look to privatizing our most valued task here in the city of Detroit.